if we relate in such a way, then the word unconditional love is not possible. That cannot happen if we live love and relationships through exchanges. So that's what I mean by transactional. And now maybe you start thinking about your own relationship or relationships that you had, and you're like, so regulating our nervous systems, like emotional mastery, it's a major skill. And then also self-awareness, to be able to own our projections, our stories, our narratives, our beliefs, what's on our side of the fence. Super important as well. And to be able to navigate tensions, to deal with conflicts, to find ways how you and your partner can meet with words or even without words and move through conflict. All of this becomes very, very important the deeper you go. Welcome to another episode of Stream of Consciousness. In this episode, I'll share my perspective on love in the modern world, dating and relationships in a superficial age. Super fascinating topic. I'm really excited. Let's get started. All right, so who of you has been dating lately, in a relationship, ended their relationship, and how was your experience? All of us are experiencing relationships in a very different way. And I also believe that the way we relate with one another is also in some ways also what we learned, how we were conditioned, what we saw and observed in society, be it our parents, other friends, in movies, and so on and so forth. And I also believe that the way we interact with one another, the way how we relate with others, is also strongly informed by trends in society and the direction in which our society is moving in general. And I would like to share my thoughts and perspectives on that. And as in all other Stream of Consciousness episodes, I didn't write down, prepare a script, because my intention is to share in the most authentic way with you what's alive for me, what's my inner truth and perspective on this topic. All right, relationships. What I'm seeing is, so I've been living in Berlin for the last 8 years. And Berlin is a fascinating place because we can observe so many different lifestyles, concepts, ways of living, and ways of relating. And I think Berlin taught me a lot about, it definitely broadened my horizon of, what can happen, like how we can relate with one another and how other people like to do that. So I got very, very inspired. And at the same time, I also saw that there are certain patterns of relating with one another that I experience to be very superficial. Superficial in several ways, in aspects, and I would like to share them with you. So one aspect that I observe is that often relationships have an element that feels transactional. And transactional for me means, in a relationship, that I only love you if you give me something, if you do this or that for me. And if we relate in such a way, then the word unconditional love is not possible. That cannot happen if we live love and relationships through exchanges. So that's what I mean by transactional. And now maybe you start thinking about your own relationship or relationships that you had, and you're like, am I living a transactional relationship style? And I'm actually really curious to hear right now what is happening inside of you while you're thinking about this. So I actually invite you right now just to browse in your memory recent experiences of relationships, either current relationship or relationship that you had, where you felt like, I actually either I was imposing this transactional idea on my partner. And it's very often implicit. It's not that people say, I only love you if you give me that. Sometimes people even do that. And I find that even more like honest and direct, like, yeah, actually, I want this from you, and then I give you that. And often it comes in more subtle ways. It comes in ways where you feel that someone else is wanting something else from you before they return your love. Or that people, for example, just like this crossing their arms, like, I won't look at you only if you do this and that for me. And then I will return you the love that you're looking for. There are many other ways. Basic idea is love in a relationship transactional? Does someone have to do something in order to earn and receive your love? And that's for me a way of, for me, that feels superficial. And it's also super unhealthy in my perspective because it prevents you and your partner from deepening the relationship and establishing a level of trust which you might be looking for. And trust doesn't come from, if you give me that, I'll give you that, and then we have more trust. Trust comes from spaciousness, where you allow someone else in a generous way to express themselves freely. Trust comes with many different aspects. It comes with setting clear boundaries, being reliable, holding yourself accountable for what you do. It comes with being able to hold secrets that other people share with you. It comes with integrity. It comes with being non-judgmental, and really comes with the generosity of opening up a space where people can be just who they are. And that's, for me, important in relationships that can deepen. And this was actually a model designed by Brené Brown. Brené Brown is a professor. She has spent a lot of time researching on these topics of vulnerability, leadership, courage. And it's very fascinating to check that out and to learn a little bit more about nourishing relationships. Yeah, so we've been talking now about relationships, transactional love, and how we can actually create and cultivate trust. Now, how does that relate with living your essence? For me, living your essence is also being transparent about your inner world, and that in a state that comes with a lot of spaciousness, non-judgmental spaciousness. And for me, like, nourishing relationships come from letting other people into your world, into your soul, into your heart. So it's very obvious, actually. If two people meet and they just meet on their superficial layer, that it's impossible to get to depth. If you meet on the surface, you can't meet in the depth. And for me, living your essence means, like being authentic and having the courage to let other people into the world, into your world. And that's something that I have been training because over a larger period of my life, I thought that it's actually more kind if I share all my heart and attention with others and focus on their world and listen to other people. And it's a beautiful thing. And yet I realized that for such a long time, I was mainly focusing all my attention outwards to others and rarely sharing about my inner world. Not because I didn't want to, just because I thought it's it's even kinder, even nicer, even more beautiful for our connection if I focus on the other person. But then one day I just realized if I'm only out there with you, I'm never with myself. And if I then look at myself in my inner world, I also get to discover myself in a new way. And I realized actually that I hadn't practiced this skill. And it was quite challenging in the very beginning. Like just observing what's going on inside of me and trying to answer this question, what do I actually need? What do I actually want? So why I'm sharing this is because I invite you into this courage of making a step closer towards yourself, listening to yourself, because this, in my perspective, also contributes in the most beautiful way to your relationships, that they don't stay on a superficial level. If two people meet and they share their truth, their deepest truth, this will create so much space and trust that this relationship can only go deeper. And then what I also see is that the deeper we go, the more skill we need. It's like diving. If you've been diving before, or if you've just like even without equipment, if you go deeper, you need to equalize your nose. But also, if you go deeper with entire scuba diving equipment, you need to do some stops to decompress. You need to know how to navigate yourself underwater. You need to know how to breathe, how to save others. So there's more and more skill that comes the deeper we go. And the same is true, in my perspective, for relationships. The deeper we go, the more unknown we'll find. The deeper we go, the more insecurities may come. The deeper we go, the more vulnerable it might feel. And in this place of insecurity and vulnerability, we might find ourselves acting in ways that are not very skillful. So if we then learn, for example, to bring us back into center, to regulate our nervous system, we can deal with way more either emotions or depth or uncertainty. So regulating our nervous systems, like emotional mastery, is a major skill. And then also self-awareness, to be able to own our projections, our stories, our narratives, our beliefs, what's on our side of the fence. Super important as well. And to be able to navigate tensions, to deal with conflicts, to find ways how you and your partner can meet with words or even without words and move through conflict. All of this becomes very, very important the deeper you go. So when we speak about love in the modern world, I see, as I started out, many superficial encounters. And I believe that all of us are longing actually for a deeper and more nourishing connection. And I also believe that many, or I assume that many of these connections stay on this level because there's insecurity of how do we do this? How do we go deeper? How do we navigate through this uncertainty? And that's why I love to share all these insights, these tools, these practices that can support you in going deeper and deeper and just building this amazing, beautiful relationship and foundation. I, for myself, right now, I'm in a very, very beautiful relationship for the last 8.5 years. It's such a long time. And I've learned so much on this path. And I'm still learning, still practicing. It's a never-ending journey. And at the same time, I can say it's one of the most beautiful. I feel so rich inside. I feel so nourished. I feel so connected. And I also feel that in this relationship with my partner, I can truly live my essence. And, which is even more beautiful, I even feel that my partner is supporting me in living my essence. I hope this was inspiring for you. I hope that you can take some of these impulses also into your life, into your relationships with your partner, with friends, with family. And I wish you all the best. So, see you next time in the next episode of Essence.